In college, I felt guilty that I did not know how to respond to racial jokes told in my presence. The joke I tried on for size still haunts me. The few cruel jokes I remember hearing were told by popular older fraternity brothers I didn't want to cross. While they didn't feel shame in talking, I feared shame in reacting. Besides, the disdain toward the joke's victim might move to me if I didn't snicker. It was the least I could do. In seminary, I learned to simply say, "I don't find that funny." Even more interesting was to say, "I don't get it," which invited self-condemnation and the joke teller's pained explanation. I guess pastoral ministry saved me from years of insensitive jokes. Some never put pastor and sense of humor together. Others knew I'd object because it was the least I could do. For decades, one of my favorite worship services was when our town would gather as one community to honor the life and legacy of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. on his Monday holiday. Singing, praying, preaching, a children's presentation, and a joy-filled, genuine welcome were all powerful to me. On January 17, 2005, at 6:20 p.m., I learned my father had fallen in the bathroom and was in the hospital. I drove by the gathering worshipers headed to Louisville. While I hated to miss the annual celebration, I knew I'd get there next year because it was the least I could do. 7 years later, January 16, 2012, I was invited to preach at the annual service. Normally, when asked what my sermon was about, I'd joke about 15 minutes. This time it was over 20. Normally, I'd use a few quotes by several preachers. This time I used many quotes by one preacher. Normally, I'd pray for God's Spirit to inspire me. This time the Spirit arrived. When I was thanked for what I said, I kept repeating, it was the least I could do, sounding sufficiently humble and yet piously grateful. It was the least I could do. I hate to be the victim of a joke, especially one requiring explanation. I now feel shame at the truth of the ironic humor. The punchline, it was the least I could do. A joke I might create is, when Jesus said, "When you do loving acts for the least of these, you do it for me," he didn't say, "Do the least you can for others." I don't want to merely say, it was the least I could do. I want to do more than the least for all children of God, created and loved by God. How is the way you see the world reinforced by others? How is it challenged? During our 21-day habit-building racial equality challenge, what is the least you can do? What more do you feel called to do? P.S. Yesterday I found the video of my sermon from 2012 and put it on YouTube. Like all past sermons, it might not be what I'd say today. Like a few past sermons, it might be meaningful to hear again. The video quality is the least we could do. The written words are available too.